Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Produce Moms Podcast. My name is Lori Taylor, and it is great to be your host. And today on the show, we're going to be really taking a deep dive into one of my favorite items in the produce department, and that is fresh herbs. And we've resourced really a woman who knows so much about this. We are welcoming Suzette Overgaag. She is the co-owner and vice president of North Shore Greenhouses, home of North Shore Living Herbs and Greens. Suzette, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lori. So glad to be here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a thrill. I've been a fan of your product for a long time, and this is just going to be a great episode. So please, let's kick things off today with just a little bit more about your background and what North Shore Living is all about.
Well, great. Basically, I'm a mother and started our business about 33 years ago. We came from Carpinteria out to the desert and Thermal, if anyone knows where the Coachella Valley is. And we started a greenhouse there and decided to move from European cucumbers into living herbs.
That's amazing. And so you've been in the business of living herbs and greens for several years now at this point. And tell us more about all of your product lines.
Well, we've been growing living herbs for about 25 years now, and we started out with what we call our mini greenhouse clamshell, and that was like not very well received in the produce department at first because they were saying, well, what is this dirt? Like, what are you going to do with this dirt? We can't have that in the produce department. And being that I really did not have a background in sales or really merchandising or actually even how to grow this, my husband and I we figured it out pretty much by the seat of our pants and grew everything, basil through all the herbs, down to tarragon. Living so that we could provide the most flavor and the longest shelf life that you could buy in the store. So that's why the roots are intact. And so that's what we're actually famous for is our clamshell, which we call our mini greenhouse.
Yes.
And we also have another product that is absolutely wonderful. It's our potted living herb line, which we came out with about 20 years ago. And that we really are proud to put into the produce department, especially because it's meant to be a culinary bouquet, just a really beautiful bouquet of herbs that's still alive. So It's not meant to be planted. It's not meant to be in the floral department, but it surely can be used for some wonderful bouquets, if you have a party or something. So we have those two lines that we're very proud of, and we've traditionally only had them available in conventional, but now we have outfitted our nursery or our greenhouses with this whole new organic program. So we're super excited about that.
Wow. Congratulations. That is exciting. So tell us a little bit more. So the product it's a living product, meaning the roots and the dirt is still intact. Why would people not want to replant that? I would assume that's got to be something that consumers reach out to you about. Like, am I meant to use this as a starter for my garden, or should I plant this in a pot and it come back? I mean, that's got to be a question you receive.
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
It's like our favorite thing. Like, why are you doing this? And we can't plant it. Well, I mean, we have like invented this program to be what I dreamed of was having an instant herb garden in my kitchen like every day. So basically, you know, we grow it for you. You don't have to. So the idea is to have something living and fresh and beautiful and use it all and not have it go to waste. So that was really how this came about. Was I would get fresh herbs and I would throw them in my refrigerator, and then I'd go to use them and then they'd be dead. So like really, they're of course cut, they're already dead, but they were really not looking good.
Brown,
so
yeah.
I said, there. You know, we should do something better. And my husband said, well, you know, I'm not doing it outside. We're doing it in a greenhouse. He's a 3rd generation greenhouse grower. So he really knows greenhouses and was taught all about that industry. So we weren't going to do anything outside in the desert. So he was like, this is how we're going to come out with a really unique product and blow everyone away, which I think we did. I think it's very well received. But yeah, if you have something in the greenhouse and it's grown hydroponically, it's getting water from the bottom. So it's never getting watered from the top. So you've got this plant that is really sustained by the nutrients in the hydroponic solution. So it's being sustained and it's growing in the greenhouse, and then we go pack it into the clamshell, and it's meant to just keep those herbs alive and fresher for longer than if you were to cut them and put them in the clamshell. So it's not really meant to replant, because once you put it in the clamshell, it goes through the cold chain, you know, sits at the grocery store and then gets to the consumer. You may or may not have success. So we don't say, oh yes, you can plant it and have success. Now, lots of people email us in and they say, oh my gosh, I've had it for 3 or 4 months. It looks so beautiful. Thank you so much. And then we're like, oh, but yeah, it's really not meant to last that long. Or sometimes they'll be disappointed because it died after 2 months.
Right.
And we'll be like, what? Yeah. So that's really not what it was meant to do, but you did great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about, you really have been a trailblazer of sorts in the fresh herb category. North Shore Living is the first culinary herb grower in the United States to be certified as a sustainable grower by a recognized third party. So tell us more about that, and why is it important to our everyday consumers?
Well, I think it's super exciting that we actually had to chart the course for what that meant. I always thought, what is the sustainability thing? You know, what's the big buzzword about? So it's about being able to have your product be grown in a way that is friendly to the earth, obviously, and also to humans that have to work there and grow the plants or product. And so we have solar energy, we have geothermal energy. That's how we heat the greenhouses. So we have different practices that are just really good for the employees. Like, they don't have to bend over every day. It's all pretty much work that's done at waist level mostly. So that's less wear and tear on people. Different things like that. So we were able to identify all these areas where we saved 80%, like anywhere between 75% and 90% of water we save with our crops compared to a cut herb program. Right. So that's really big.
It's amazing.
Especially in California.
Right. And it was several years ago that this distinction came about, where you were certified as a sustainable grower. So this is something that you've been committed to this before it was something that was really on the radar of consumers, is what I'm getting at here.
Right. And also, we were forefront in being the first hydroponic grower to be certified organic. That was a really big deal. Also, we went through a lot of hoops to have someone learn how to certify us, and then we were certified. And our whole nursery, our whole crops, they weren't certified. We only had one section, and we figured it all out back, I think, 15 years ago. Maybe that was 20 years ago. But for us to get fully sustainable at organic growing, we now have obtained that. So our whole facility is upgraded to support that now. So
right. That's great. That's
yeah.
great.
So that's a whole another thing we did. But yeah, the sustainability is excellent. So
yeah, it sure is. And it's so important. Now I'd love to kind of switch gears here and talk a little bit about more recent events and the COVID-19 pandemic and how that affected herbs overall, and specifically everything at North Shore Living. You and I spoke a little bit before the show about how, the shelter in place orders and the rise of cooking at home has really been a moment where people are starting to think about fresh herbs in a new way and buy more of your products. So please share with our listeners a little bit more about what you learned during the last few months through the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes, well, it's been, shocking in so many different ways, as everyone knows. I can say that the positive thing that has turned for us is the fact that people are really thinking about our mission. Our mission is to make every home cooked meal a special occasion. And so now it's pretty much like, oh, how can we make it a special occasion because we can't go out anymore?
Right.
So that's been really interesting, seeing the response to the trend of, what can I do with this product? This is really cool. How do I cook with it? And it's just remarkable, the responses that we've had since COVID has happened. So in a way, it's nice to see people, cooking together. I really like that. So I think they found how important it is to eat together. So I found that to be really nice. I mean, not just for business, but for the community in general. So our trends seem to be that people are obviously shopping more in the grocery stores, and our business has gone up just about 20 to 40%, depending upon the week. So we've been able to keep up with that demand, and all of our customers have been really happy that we can keep up with that demand. So
right.
That's been very fortunate.
That is good. And we're now on the heels of what has to, historically be one of your busiest times of year, which is the holiday season. Do you anticipate are you guys forecasting any changes or a sustained product line growth during the upcoming holiday season?
We're anticipating, most of our partners anticipate a similar growth trend, that there will be more people here at home eating rather than going out on vacation.
Or traveling, right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we anticipate that we will be supplying more fresh living herbs.
That's right. Get those roasting mixes ready, Suzette.
Yeah. We're ready.
Yeah. Good. So let's.
Yeah, our employees have been fantastic. Everyone's just amazing. I mean, that's really been great. So everyone wants to work, which is, that's been pretty scary.
Yeah.
But we figured that out early on, how to make it safe. So that was good.
Good. I'm so glad. So let's talk about, it's not every day you get someone that knows as much about a super iconic product like you do with fresh herbs. So I want to hear more about how you use them in your life, Suzette, and tips that you have for our listeners today. I will say that in my personal life, I've got to probably give the nod to cilantro or basil, which seem to be such commonplace herbs, but those are like the ones I use all the time. And, in terms of a unique herb use, I love putting sage in my gin cocktails. And so that's, I always like to remind people of, hey, think outside the box. Sage isn't just for, sausage and roasted turkeys. So you can make a really good cocktail with fresh herbs. And I happen to love putting sage in my gin cocktails. So, but no, I'd love to hear what you want our listeners to know about fresh herbs. If you have any family favorite recipes or tips that you can share with our listeners today.
Sure. I have mostly tips because unfortunately, I don't like using recipes. So my daughter actually does all of the recipes on the website. She pretty much cooks everything, makes sure that, she has the best recipe on there. Myself, I use the herbs. I just put them in my kitchen. I love having the aroma of fresh herbs in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Sometimes I use them all. Sometimes I don't. So my favorite thing is actually just using them in salads and herb butter. So depending upon what I have, I'll just chop them up and make an herb butter and put it over pasta or a steak. I will also use herbs in lots of drinks. We have lots of cocktails that we do, and just regular flavored water is wonderful.
Yes.
Cucumbers and mint and lemon is a favorite. And I really hate to measure. So that's just one of the things, unfortunately, you can just use them. Don't be afraid. That's my best.
I don't think I've ever measured
herbs.
herbs. I want people to know you just kind of go by the smell and the flavor. And yeah, I agree with you. I'm not a huge fan of measuring either.
Yeah. So it can be challenging. Some people really don't want that. So I realize it's important to have a recipe, but I also have seen people, change their life by just adding herbs in and not measuring, because it doesn't ruin it.
Right.
It's makes it better. It's not like salt. You can add salt and that's not good, but you can add too much salt.
Right.
You really can't add too much herbs.
Yeah. No. I love it. Well, certainly everyone can visit northshore.farm online to experience some of these amazing recipes. And you said, Suzette, that these are your daughter's recipes?
Yeah, she does all the content, the graphic design and the recipes right now. So we'll open that up probably in the future as my kids are getting older. They're having more kids. So yeah, it's getting busier. So it's we have a lot of baby food on there. We have, she makes baby food, homemade baby food. So she has those recipes. And anytime anyone has any questions, please just ask online. We'd love to have your questions or your recipes.
Sure. No, that's great. So Suzette, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show today. I'm looking at your daughter's recipes thinking I've got to make this baked ricotta cheese with chives. It looks amazing. And
also don't forget, the biggest benefit of our fresh herbs is using the stems. You can use the stems, which with cut herbs you can't really do. So that's another benefit I forgot to add.
I'm glad you shared that. That's so important. And it's a wonderful tip. So, everyone look for the North Shore living herbs and greens at your grocery store. If they don't have them on shelf, you can always ask for them by name. We have a blog on how to request items at your grocery store on theproducemoms.com. Suzette, thank you again for being our guest. You actually get the final goodbye, closing remarks, and sign off as our guest today. But I want to thank you once again for being with us, and thank you for the great work you do. I love cooking with fresh herbs, and I think that, to your point, it just elevates what you do at home. So I love your mission statement and what you all stand for.
Well, thank you so much, Lori. It was such a pleasure. And I just say, just have that instant herb garden at your fingertips and just eat the freshest ingredients, and you will make your meal special no matter what you do. So thank you. And we will continue to work hard to produce this awesome product and make it as wonderful as we can. That's what we do.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms Podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.